Hello everybody, it's Craftin' Just Because with Chris Cowan. I hope everybody's having a fabulous Friday. I'm excited it's Friday. Okay, so we're going to be playing with the ice cream swirl bundle. We are going to be making a treat box, and let's see, I'm trying to get this so it's not so crooked. There we go. So we're going to play with the dies, the stamp set. I'm bringing in the Baker's Twine, the 3-color pack. I have Crumb Cake ink, Azure Afternoon. I also have Lemon Lolly cardstock, and then some of the Light as Air Designer Series paper. I have a piece of Basic White. I have a piece of Crumb Cake, and then if we needed, I was bringing in some fresh freesia. So let's go ahead and get started. We first want to do some die cutting. So let's open our machine here. And we are going to cut the ice cream, the cone. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. Let me get my paper trimmer so I can cut down a couple of these pieces. Okay. So before I put it in the machine, I'm going to do the imprint or the outline, but I also want to do on the front the embossed piece. So I'm going to go ahead and layer those down. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and run this through the die cut machine. Let me get it all the way up so it'll cut it. Okay, come on. Get some of this stuff out of my way. Oh, my plates aren't even. Come on, suck it through. I might have to get my big one out. It's giving me some troubles here. Okay, why aren't you feeding through? My one plate is bowed, so that's part of the problem. Okay, I'm just gonna grab my big one. This one's given us too much grief, and I am over that part of it. Okay. Okie dokie. Yay. Okay. So we have that die. And then I'm going to cut a basic white piece to put on the inside. So we just need to put it on part of it. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to die cut out that piece to put on the inside. Okay. And then we want to do the ice cream layer. So just that layer. And I'm going to do that out of the polka dotted Light as Air Designer Series paper. Okay, so there's our ice cream. And then I want to stamp really quick onto a scrap of crumb cake. And I'm going to stamp the little straw, but I'm going to make it, you know, like those little wafer cookie straws. I'm going to make it brown. So I'm going to do crumb cake on crumb cake. And then we're going to die cut that out. And then we should be done with all the dies. Okay. And we'll do a little bit of stamping and after we get a measurement that we need from making the little box. So where's my Post-it tape? Okay. So we'll get that die cut out, and then we'll move on to making our box. Okay. Oh, perfect. And put the dies away and the Big Shot away, or the cut and emboss machine away. Okie dokie. My camera didn't stay straight, did it? I must have moved it. Okay. So we'll move that over. We don't need that right at this moment. Let's do a little blending really quick on our ice cream cone. Gonna bring in that crumb cake, and just by adding a little bit of color, it'll really make those embossed images pop. Okay, and I want a tiny bit more. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead And we'll add our basic white piece for the inside of the card. I am going to have to trim that a little bit. It looks like I got just over the edge, just a tiny bit. So this will be so that you could put a message inside your card. And it should line up perfectly. And then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of glue all along here for our ice cream. And then I'm going to cut, I should have done it before I put the ice cream on. I'll use my paper trimmer. I'm going to do a tiny little cut in my ice cream. Let me show you. Whoops. I want this blade. Okay. And then we're going to glue this down into the ice cream. Just like that. Cute, right? Okay. So now we can start cutting our box, and then we'll get this all decorated. So first, what you're going to want to do is you're going to need a piece that is 6 3/4 by 8. So we have 6 3/4. Now, I will admit this is not my box design. I saw the kitchen table stamper do this box, but she used totally different product. I just had an idea, and I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on it. Okay, so on the 8-inch side, we want to score it at 1 1/4. Okay, at 3 3/4, at 5 inches, and at 7 1/2 inches. Okay, then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees to that 6 3/4 inch size, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4, at 5 1/2, and it's 6 1/8. Let's make, okay. And then we're going to do some cutting on this, but before we do that, I want to cut a piece of designer series paper that is 2 1/4 by 4. I'm going to do 2 1/4 by 4. And then, so we're going to set that aside. And then I also want to pull in this, you know what, I called it Fresh Freesia. I think this is bubblegum pink. So that's my bad. I'm going to pull in a piece of that because I want to make a little thing here. So you guys are going to see that here. I'm just cutting these ends off really quick before I forget. Okay. Okie dokie. So now what I'm going to do is we want this to be, let's do a half an inch. We want this to be a half an inch by 2 1/4. Okay. And then we could put our paper trimmer away. I'm going to come in, where's my, there it is, my bone folder, and we're going to burnish all of our score lines. Okay, so on the bottom, which is the thicker part, we want, well, first we're going to make this a tab. So I'm going to go at an angle and cut off the rectangle. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same for the top. Go at an angle, and then I'm going to cut off both those rectangles. So all you have is the tab. Then on the bottom, we're going to cut up each score line to that intersecting score line, and we're going to wedge on the squares. So I'm going to cut up the score line, and then wedge. And this just makes our box go together just a tiny bit easier, okay? Okay, now on the top, we're going to take some sections out. We're going to take the 2 smaller sections out to that first score line, okay? So let's go ahead and cut those out. So I'm going to cut to the second score line, but then we're going to cut off this little tab. Okay. We're going to do the same here. And then cut off that top tab. And then I'm also going to do a tiny bit of a wedge on those pieces. Okay. Next, we are going to bring in our corner rounder. So I'm going to push all those down, and I'm going to round the corners on those longer tabs. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And I'll lay this flat so you guys can see it here in a minute. Okay, so this is what it should look like. Okay. Now those ones that we just rounded, I'm just going to push forward like that. Okay. Now, before we get started finishing that, let's go ahead and stamp. I was going to stamp our sentiment. I should have made this bigger. It's okay. I have an idea. I'm going to do yum. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, let that dry a moment. And then that's all the stamping we're doing. Okay. Well, let's add our designer series paper to the front of our box. Just like that. Now I'm only going to add glue to the outside edge of both sides of the small end. Okay. Just like that. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and fold up our box. Now this would be perfect for jewelry, a little snack or little pieces of candy. So this is our front, so I'm going to push that forward, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue on this one and put this down. And then I do this so that it reinforces the box. And then that side down. And then our front. Just like that. And then we'll flip it over and run our bone folder in there. Okay. Since this, like I said, this was not my box. This was the kitchen table stampers box. She had those little Madeline cookies that are like almond flavored. Okay. So I wish we had these clips. These are old clips from Stampin' Up. And I'm just going to attach a little clip at the top to keep it closed. And then we'll add some of that twine. But watch. Our little card should slide right in there. And then when they take it off, they'll see the yum. Okay, and then I was thinking of adding some ribbon, or twine, I mean, to that. Let's add a little bit of each. Where's the end? There's one end. There's two ends. I'm going to add a bow to the front of my ice cream. Okay, so I'm going to do all three at one time. And make it a bow. And then just hold that center down and pull. Whoops. I didn't pull those together. There we go. Dang it. Okay. Let me pull that tight again. And then I'm just going to add a little dot there. And then let me take the clip off and we'll add some here. Sorry, off camera. It's hard when I'm doing a bow. And then these might be better. And then we'll add that back on to our box. I'm gonna have to lay that back down in order to get it to glue. Okay, so hold there. Whoops. There we go. So that's our project for today, you guys. Super simple. The hardest part was die cutting everything and getting it together, but it was a simple box to make, which I love. And it was just putting on a new spin on this card. Now, if I were to do this again, I think I would only stamp one yum and do it in the middle. I thought at the last minute it would work out, but it didn't. So that would be one suggestion that I would have for the next time. But that's it, folks. I hope you have a great Friday, and I will see you guys again on Monday. Have a nice weekend, and hopefully the weather where you are is cooperating and you can maybe get outside a little bit or get out to get groceries, what have you. So until next time, my creative peeps, I will see you later. Bye-bye.